She didn't really say anything new.
He talked about being a gay candidate.
It kind of always starts off with a joke.
He kind of like found a friend on stage.
He really has not gone hard after Joe Biden in the debate. I'm Holly Otterbein, and I am a reporter for Politico covering Pete Buttigieg,
Andrew Yang,
Tom Steyer,
Elizabeth Warren,
Bernie Sanders for 2020. One of his biggest challenges has been attracting older voters. One of the reasons is because of concerns about experience, concerns about getting things done. He does actually have a record of passing legislation, like recently pushing a bill through Congress to end the U.S. involvement in the war in Yemen. He worked with John McCain to deliver help to veterans. These are not things, though, that he brings up or brags about. He really has not gone hard after Joe Biden in the debates, and this has actually frustrated some of his supporters and even aides. He will usually sort of stick to the same talking points and say if he wants to go after those voters.
The last debate, Warren had released these two healthcare plans and really prepared to have a substantive exchange and clash and fights with all the other candidates, and it didn't really happen. And even though she had almost more time talking than any other candidate, she didn't really say anything new. Senator Warren can sometimes get in a position where she is so on message that it sometimes looks like she's avoiding the question.
He's really been surging and growing in Iowa. That's a place where he must do well in order to build momentum to be able to launch himself into the rest of the states.
Andrew Yang really needs to step out of his comfort zone and poke in more. He doesn't like to interrupt people. He doesn't like to jump in unless he's called on. He's had the lowest talking time of all the candidates for a lot of different debates.
It's tough for a candidate like Tom Steyer, who came into this with basically zero name ID, more or less. Steyer's been a participant in these debates largely. He hasn't really engaged with other candidates. They're not really taking the bait to try to go back and forth with him.
We can expect Pete Buttigieg and Elizabeth Warren to continue to aggressively litigate each other's records, questions around transparency. There's been a lot of sort of public back and forth between the two of them.
There is a substantial overlap in the voters they appeal to, particularly older, white, college-educated voters.
Pete Buttigieg has trained most of his fire on Elizabeth Warren, but he's also gone after Bernie Sanders. I think that we might see Buttigieg attack Sanders, if not explicitly, then implicitly. Probably the most memorable moment for him from the past debates is...
I do know it, I wrote the damn bill.
It was him trying to contrast himself with the rest of the field, although now he's kind of the last one standing who really supports it in such a full-throated way as he does. But at that point, it was a way to say, everyone else is a pretender.
Look, millionaires and billionaires and their rich cronies are writing the rules in Washington.
It is giant corporations that have taken our government and that are holding it by the throat.
When John Delaney was on stage, who himself is a multimillionaire, and the moderator said, Congressman Delaney, you would be subject to Warren's wealth tax. And she just does this rubbing of her hands. And I think it was an authentic moment for her. It also sort of speaks to her populist form of politics.
One really memorable Pete debate moment was very early on where he talked about being a gay candidate and talked on a national stage about coming out and his experience of coming out. I can imagine for anyone in the LGBTQ community watching a national presidential candidate talk about that would be moving and powerful and important.
In the past, when talking about Medicare for All, he's made jokes.
I am Asian, so I know a lot of doctors.
It distracts from the conversation that you're trying to have. So he missed an opportunity to talk about the kinds of things he wants to do.
But Tom's been spending his own money fighting climate change. And you can't knock someone for having money and spending it in the right way, in my opinion. Thanks, Andrew. No problem.
Andrew Yang kind of stood up for Tom Steyer. And that was like a nice human moment between two candidates on stage. It was just kind of interesting, kind of funny that he kind of like found a friend on stage from his fellow outsider candidate. How does Steyer break past what he currently has done? That's his big question. It's the question for every candidate on stage, really. Is can these debates fundamentally change the direction of a campaign?
Could you give me your best impression of Pete Buttigieg?
Oh my God, no, I can't. He likes to preface a lot of sentences like, well, it'd be safe to say, da-da-da.
If Carrie tells me I need to start like wagging my finger, I will.
He does this thing where his shoulders are kind of up.
He's very slow when he speaks. I talk fast. I gotta slow down, try to explain myself very distinctly, try to not use my hands as much. I'm an Italian from Long Island. I have to talk with my hands. Tom Steyer is not, so I'm gonna try to hold these down a little bit.